Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Bianca. So today we're going to be doing a first third of the year because I'm going to include the books that I read in January, February, March, and April. Because as I'm filming this, it's already May. So hey, why not? So I've read 20 books as of the end of April this year. Which I guess is pretty good because I really have felt like I've been in a reading slump. I haven't wanted to read anything since I finished my top books for this year so far, and I read those in January. So I'm not going to be talking about all of them. A lot of them are graphic novels or manga, so I will just tell you about a few that I read, my favorites. The first book that I read this year in January was A Nordic King by Karina Hale. I picked this up originally because it was a recommendation for a steamy romance by Riley Marie, and at the time that's what I was in the mood for, so this is what I picked up and I loved it. It took a little bit for me to get in because I'm not quite used to the point of view that the author writes in, which is first person. I'm usually a third person point of view reader, but I believe this was my first person point of view, and the point of view changes between the main character Aurora and her love interest, whose name I cannot remember, Axel. So the point of view changes between Aurora and Axel, and I really loved that. So this was a 4-star read for me. A very high 4-star. I very much enjoyed it. I think like I said, the point of view just threw me off a bit. It has a lot of nice steamy scenes in it. So this follows Aurora, who is a nanny, and she is sent to Copenhagen to be the nanny of 2 little princesses whose father is the King of Denmark. And it's a nice romance. I mean, you have a romance between the King of Denmark and his nanny. So it is a forbidden romance of royal proportions, as the little blurb on the front says, and I very much enjoyed it. It was a very nice read. Exactly what I needed for the beginning of the year, and it set it off to a great start. The next 2 books I read are really what put me in my slump because they were so good. These are my first 2 5-star reads of the year, and this was From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout and From Flesh and Fire, also by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I love these books. I cannot look at all my tabs. That is how much I love this book. I am currently rereading this book because I wanted to reread the series before I picked up A Crown of Gilded Bones, which was released last month. And I'm loving it even more now that I'm rereading it for a second time. I have added a million more. I'm currently like 50% of the way through because I want to take my time. I'm loving this even more than I did the first time, and there's not enough I can say. So this series follows Poppy, who is the maiden of this community, we'll say, and she's the most important person in this world. As a result, she is so protected that she can't have friends of her own. She has a 24-hour guard. She's not allowed to talk to people. Nobody's allowed to look at her face. She wears a veil that covers her eyes and her nose. Nobody can see her. Nobody can talk to her. She can't go anywhere by herself. She's constantly under supervision, and if she steps a foot out of line, she's punished. And all of her life, this has been her life. She's accepted it. This is who I am. I'm this very important person. I'm not allowed to do anything, and she hates it. And then she meets Hawk, and she starts realizing, maybe I don't want to be the maiden. Maybe this is not the life that I want to choose for myself, and I just want my hot hunky bodyguard. So her whole life turns upside down after she meets Hawk, and she starts asking questions that, as the story goes on, I feel like she should have been asking all along. But in hindsight, 2020, right? So, love this book. Can't wait to pick up the 3rd one because I already have it. And I love this series so much that I've also pre-ordered Fairy Loot special editions and I believe Illumicrate special editions. So, I got a lot coming towards me. The next books I have, this was the height of my slump. After I read those books, I did not want to pick up anything else. I didn't know what to do with myself. So the next books I have are graphic novels These were, I don't even know, these weren't graphic novels. This is like a comic collection. And I love this artist's work. She did one of my favorite books from last year, which was Fangs. This is Sarah Anderson, and she has Adulthood is a Myth and Big Mushy Happy Lump, and then Herding Cats, which is my favorite one. And these were just exactly what I needed during my slump. I didn't want to read anything, but I also wanted to pick something up because I wanted to be reading. But I didn't want to, I guess, sit down and get into anything at that time. I was recovering from my Blood and Ash reading. So this series is just so cute. And look, it's Blossom, the little black cat. So it was exactly what I needed. All of these were 4-star reads. Just exactly what I needed during that time. The next book I have was another, this was a 4-star read, but it was the sequel to a book that I loved last year, and I couldn't wait for this to come out because that one ended on a cliffhanger and I was dying to know what came next. So this is Namesake by Adrienne Young. This is the sequel and final book in the duology Fable. I believe I read this in 2 days, and the only reason I had to stop was because I had to get up early the next day. I just loved it. So this series follows Fable, who is a gem mage or something. She can feel jewels. So when she's younger, there's a shipwreck, and unfortunately her mother passes. And as a result, her father abandons her on this island and says, if you can get off and find me, I will give you what you've always wanted. And to Fable, she knows what she's always wanted, and that is to be a part of her father's crew. He is a merchant trader, and she wants to sail on his boat like her mother did. So it takes her 4 years before she finally gets off this island, and she joins this guy named West and his crew, and I love it. It's got a lot of action. It's got some romance in there for those of you who like that, which that is me. I love me some romance, and it's fun. It's a fun read, and I needed that, and I loved it. I cannot wait to pick up more of Adrienne Young's books because that is definitely what I want to do. I tabbed a whole bunch and loved that. The next one I picked up was one that was recommended by one of my favorite YouTubers, and that's Olivia Reads a Latte. And she is admittedly not a big fan of romance. She's gotten into it a lot more recently, and this was one that she raved about. So I picked this up. It's A Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova. This follows Luella, who discovers she's had magic all her life, but it's been hidden from her. And she's taken to marry the Elf Kings, because that is what happens. A human queen is found, and she is sent to live in the elf world with the Elf King. I really enjoyed this. I picked it up originally to read it for a class because I needed another book to analyze for my literature class. And this was one I picked up, and I really enjoyed it. I had been putting it off, don't know why, but once I picked it up, could not put it down. So I do highly recommend this. I gave this 4 stars. Really enjoyed it. The next book I have, I feel like I've talked about a lot. It's was on my most anticipated releases for this year, and this is Prepped by Bethany Mangle. It was definitely originally a cover pick. I mean, it's an amazing cover. So this follows Becca, whose family lives in a prepper colony where they're prepping for every natural disaster possible. Any eventuality that can happen, they want to be prepared for it. So I don't think this is a spoiler since it really happens on like the first page, but one of the things they have to prepare for is being stranded in ice cold water. So these kids as young as 13, because I guess at that point the parents don't want to go any younger, but as young as 13 are forced to sit and to float in ice cold water for, I believe it's up to 10 minutes. And it's ridiculous what these kids have to go through. So Becca doesn't want to deal with it anymore. She wants to leave. She doesn't believe in prepper ideology or whatever, and she just wants out. So she cannot wait until she graduates high school, gets her scholarship, and can go off to college and leave the prepper colony behind. Then something unforeseen and disastrous happens, and she feels like her whole plan has been derailed, and she will be stuck in this prepper colony for the rest of her life, where she will be forced to marry her neighbor, Roy Kang, who they've been arranged to marry, and her life just seems to be in shambles. Lots of action in this one. It was an amazing read for me. I very much enjoyed it. I'm so glad I had it on my most anticipated releases because I would not have picked it up otherwise, I don't think. And because I haven't seen this anywhere, but I'm very happy I had it on my most anticipated and I was able to pick this up. This was a 4-star read for me and I very much enjoyed it. I didn't tab it a lot. I tabbed it a couple times, but very much enjoyed this. The next book I want to talk about is one that I've seen everywhere, and I'm sure you guys all know about it. This is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. I loved it. This was a 4-star read for me, a high 4-star. 4 stars kind of means I loved it, but it just didn't quite hit the mark. This was a 4-star read for me. I kind of took this partly on audio, and then I did part physical reading, and then towards the end I listened to it as I read it, and I really loved that because I love the the accent. So that really put it over the edge for me. This follows Audrey Rose, who lives in a time, obviously this is like the 1800s or something, where women have a certain vision that they have to put forward. And she does not do that. She wants to study forensics. She wants to dissect bodies. She wants to learn. And that is completely unheard of in her time for a woman to do. So in this book, she is trying to discover who Jack the Ripper is. So she works with her uncle, and then she meets Thomas something. What is his name? Cresswell. She meets Thomas Cresswell, and their banter. I love their banter. It's where it's at. I need more. Definitely want to pick up the next book. This is part of I believe it's a 4-book series with Dracula, Houdini, and another one that I can't put my finger on, but highly recommend these. Love them. It was just a good, enjoyable read for me. So that was the last book I have for my first third of the year update. I really felt like I was in a slump, but since I've read 20 books, I guess it wouldn't be classified as a slump, but I wasn't reading as much as I felt I normally would. But good thing is I feel like reading again. I have been enjoying a few great books. I've been getting into poetry more, which has been great for me because I haven't really read more than romance or fantasy, so it's something new for me to try, and I've enjoyed it. So those were some of the books I read towards the first third of the year. I will put out another one of these in August, so probably the beginning of September. I'm currently in school, so I'm not reading as much as I would normally be because this class has me a little stressed out and I'm struggling a bit with my anxiety. So let's leave on a happier note. If you have any recommendations for me, please leave them in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you guys more. I will leave any books and booktubers that I mentioned in the description. If you're new, please hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.